Corey Scott Feldman, born July 16, 1971, American actor and musician. You mostly know him from movies like 1984 Gremlins.
A bottle of fettuccine in 1981.
1985's The Goonies.
The only thing we serve is tongue.
1986 Stand By Me.
Does your brother know who that vampire is?
No, I don't think so.
Then you'll have to kill him. And if you don't...
1987 Lost Boys.
This all started when my mom went to work at Max's video store. Max never comes in till after it's dark. The dog who chased my mom this morning was his. Here, listen to this. Vampires require a daytime protector, a guardian, to watch over them as they sleep. Fierce dogs. The hounds of hell are often employed for this purpose.
No shit.
Corey was born to parents Robert or Bob Feldman and Sheila Feldman. Bob was a record producer, and he also was in the band The Strangeloves. Corey comes from a Jewish family from L.A. He claims his mother was abusive and both his parents exploited him for money by making him a child actor. Corey is one of 5 children, and his sister Mindy was a child actor as well, who appeared in the new Mickey Mouse Club in 1977.
Gift certificates. Each is worth 50 cents at McDonald's, and a book of 10 costs only $5. Something special for someone special.
Hello and welcome to Cry Me a River. I'm Shana, your host. I'm ugly, so I'm using this face. Anyway, so today we are going to be doing a video about Corey Feldman. Now we are going to go into his relationship with Judy Haim, and were they really friends? I don't think so. Commercial you just saw was his first commercial he did when he was 3 years old. Oh yes, and I also wanted to mention that if you had not seen the video Liar Liar about Corey Feldman, I will link it in the description. This is like, after you watch that, I kind of, because that like really spells it out and did such a great job, I know I couldn't duplicate it. So basically I'm just going to spell out what they said in case you don't watch it, but please do watch it because they just use all of his own words. So now where we're starting off right here, Corey Haim was staying with Feldman to do the 2 Coreys, but Corey Feldman is married, and they basically make them in characters because like Corey Feldman is a neat freak, and he's very tidy, and you know, has his life on track, and he has a successful career, and I don't know where they get that from. And then they make Corey Haim look like he's a bum and a slob, and he doesn't have a job, and blah blah blah. And
in 1987, teen actors Corey Haim and Corey Feldman appeared in a vampire movie that catapulted them to fame, fortune, and a string of roles that made the 2 Coreys a household name. Unfortunately, fame was fleeting, and the Coreys left the public eye with bad headlines and bad habits. 20 years later, here's Corey Feldman. He's married. He's a working actor. He's a neat freak. Here is Corey Haim. He's single. He's unemployed. He's a slob. Now, Haim is staying with Feldman while he jumpstarts his career and his life. Can 2 former heartthrobs and a wife share a house without driving each other crazy?
He, polar opposites. So how will this work? And there's a wife. they were really famous because the two of them together, you know, the two Coreys. So whenever they did something together, it was money. So they did a lot of things even though they didn't like each other. So we're going to let this play. And this is the end of the first season of Two Coreys. Go watch it, please. Look at her face. You're such a smug jerk.
Yeah,
That's my f***ing wife.
yeah. So what? You back her up all the f***ing time?
I back her up all the f***ing time.
Because you're a child and you need somebody to train you.
that right?
That's what you need. We're a team, okay?
team?
Yeah, a team. You don't have a team, so you don't f***ing understand.
Why are you such a f***ing bitch?
Hey,
Look,
what the f***?
do not accept me.
You guys.
You don't call my wife a
Look,
Stop.
you want to step?
Stop.
You want to step?
Guys.
You want to step? I will f***ing knock you out, kid.
Hey.
You don't want to do this.
It's not worth it.
You get that, right?
Stop.
You know this.
Get off.
It's not
Back
worth
up.
it.
Back
It's not
up.
worth
Dude,
it.
I will kill you.
Dude, I'll mess you up, dude.
Stop.
I don't know what the is going on with you and Susie, but I'm done with it. Do you understand me? And that's it. It's over, okay? You need to go. I need my time, and she definitely needs her time.
Okay, look. I'm gone.
Now it's going to go into the second season where they're at each other's throat. This season's like, you know, get them views because they're at each other's throat. In the beginning of this, Haim didn't seem like he was really on drugs. I think he always just seems kind of like a wound up type person. By the end of this season, you know, Haim definitely is like, looks like he's on something. In the beginning of it, I don't think he was. But by the time with the pressure and them constantly accusing him, he was.
The Coreys. What's up, kid?
Mr. Haim?
Look at Corey with his smirk, too. Look at him like it's funny or something. This is where all of it starts from here. This is the whole boiling point. I mean, there was something besides this, and I have no idea exactly what he's talking about. So Feldman is saying that there is some magazine that Haim went to, the National Enquirer, which is garbage anyway, isn't it? Went to them and said some stuff about Feldman that Feldman didn't like, and he felt like he was talking behind his back. What exactly that was or what he said, I'm not sure. Haim says basically that he called him a backstabber. So let's see this.
Go ahead. Why don't you start?
You're not gonna like it, dude.
I want to have this conversation. I think it needs to be had. I've known you for 24 years. How deep do you want to get with this, man?
Honest.
How honest?
Real honest.
Hey, I'm sitting right here, man. I get down for a reason.
Right, so did I.
You got something to say? Say it.
I'm saying
right
it to
here.
you.
Then say it
That's
to me.
what I'm saying.
Don't send Scott. You say it to me. Don't send one of your minions
Okay,
out, okay?
I'll say it to you. You crossed the line.
With what and when and
With
how?
what?
Hmm?
Gee, I don't know.
Let's
In
start
20
there.
years,
With
in
what?
20 years,
Yeah.
have we ever gone to the press? Have we ever? Because
not
all I
that
hear
important
from
to
the
me
press
anymore.
and from everybody else is how much you hate
Nobody's
me.
calling.
So
Your
if you really
manager
hate
calling my
me that
agent
much,
talking ab-
tell me about it.
I'm looking in your eyes. I'm telling you that. I said
Right.
you're a
And you
backstabber.
called the
Corey.
Enquirer.
Scott Feldman.
And you called the Enquirer.
The
Yeah.
Enquirer magazine.
Ring a bell?
To me. Last year.
Yeah.
Don't tell me I didn't show up half hour early every morning because of you.
How about me staying up with you till 5 o'clock in the morning, you going, I'm suicide?
Here we go, where he basically, here's a part where he says, and this pisses Haim off, that Feldman basically talks about how Corey Haim was suicidal at some point. And then Haim brings that up. Well, you just let the whole world know about me having a knife in my pocket. So that's what he's referring to, this part right here in the beginning as we're stopped.
Idol, I've got a knife in my pocket. And who's going to be there except for your best friend? But
You're bringing up real
what are you doing?
real deep things.
What are you doing?
So I'm going to do
You
the
want me to
same
get
exact
deep?
thing,
You
dude.
want me to get deep?
Dude, get as deep
Do you
as
really
you
want me to?
man. Sure.
I don't think so. Because if you want me to talk
Absolutely.
like that, I can destroy you right now and you know it.
Corey, I'm sitting
And
right
I don't need to
Go
do
ahead.
that. I don't have to do that.
Corey, I'd love to see you even attempt to do something like that.
Are you kidding me?
Do I look like I'm kidding you right
You're
now?
an easy target, bro.
I'm right here. Let's do this. I'm right here. Hit me with the hardest you got.
Now, why would I want to try and hurt you?
Corey, you're opening up to the world about me having a knife in my pocket. And the reason I wear this, man, is like to cover up some scars I have. Because like I used to cut into myself. Because it's a way to feel. I hear. And like mentioning that, you just rip the envelope, man. I'll go you one better. You let me get around in my life, man, raped, so to speak, when I was about 14 and a half, and I'm saying this right now, by the guy you used to hang out with, and tell me I'm 14, take responsibility. You know exactly what I'm talking about. What'd you do, man, when you saw that going down when I was 14 to me? What'd you do? You knew about it. Besides being his best friend. What'd you do? What'd you do? All is what you did, man.
I believe I was...
cocaine with me. God bless you.
You want to talk about the truth? Okay, well then let's talk about the truth. I was being molested at the same time by somebody else. What'd you do? What'd you do?
Talk to you about it.
You talked to me about it?
Yeah, sure. You told me while I was sleeping, this happened to me, this happened to me. I'm like, dude, you weren't sleeping? Yeah, I was sleeping. Tried to talk to you about it.
Yeah.
Sure.
Were you sleeping?
I was awake, Corey. I was very aware of what's going on with me.
So Haim is saying that you let me get effed around, raped, so to speak, right? So the person who was his best friend and still is his best friend, he was talking about was Dominic Brascia. And we will get into who that is. And then whoever molested Feldman, I'm not quite sure who that was. I have suspicion that there was quite a few people. Haim, I don't believe, got molested by anyone other than Dominic Brascia. Now, the person who I think molested Feldman was probably John Grisham because he was a pedophile. Weiss, I don't know if Weiss did, but they did hang out and he was around. There's a picture of him on a Lost Boys set, so perhaps. Anyway, but he says now in his documentary, My Truth, The Rape of Two Coreys, he says that Alfie Hoffman did it. Now, some people are saying that's not true, and maybe the whole what happened was true, but he said it was somebody else. And he also says how he met Dominic Brascia was through Alfie as well, Soda Pop Club that they had in Hollywood. And people were like, why is there a club for kids in Hollywood? It kind of makes sense if you want them to not be in real clubs, like Drew Barrymore and stuff was bar hopping and stuff at that age. Just have a club where they didn't serve alcohol, where the kids can all meet up and hang out together. Kind of sounds like a good idea. Just a soda pop bar. But yeah, if you have freaks in Hollywood that attend, then you know why that was really set up. But Feldman don't come out saying nothing like that. He protects anybody who I think is a real predator or whatever. He protects people like that. Let's continue.
Sorry, we might take this to go. Really, it's not good. Me around you is detrimental for my health, man. You're really, 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 really up in your head, kid. And I really don't want to be your friend anymore. I can't. It's not that I don't want to be, I can't.
Well, that's where it's at.
I can't.
That's where it's at.
I can't. I'm gonna go.
Corey to give me that super uncomfortable moment. We're already uncomfortable, and you can...
This is from his Truth Doc or whatever, and I cannot find where this actual instance was, like when this happened, but I believe, because he said Judy Haim, which is Corey Haim's mother, says that the reason why they went over there was because Haim wanted to bring their son Zen a gift. He's talking about the event where he told him to tell the story.
He goes, can me and my mom stop by can we all have dinner tonight? Let's just have one nice dinner together.
Why was it so uncomfortable? Why is he being like, of course it was uncomfortable, and then Corey has to hit me with this thing of like hey, can we have a nice dinner?
Yeah, what's the logic behind this story?
It's because these guys were not friends, and Corey Feldman has to pretend that they were best friends the whole time when they weren't.
And from the chat, Boat Knight says, is Jim trying to say Corey Haim is the more interesting story? No, Corey Feldman is saying Corey Haim is the more interesting story.
Yeah, it's Corey Feldman.
Yeah.
He's been dragging his, quote, best friend's body through the mud for 10 years now.
His mom is just like, please, let him rest.
It's true.
The diner scene. Okay, so we hadn't talked for a while, and then we do this diner scene, and he's like blowing up on me and like trying to throw everything in my face, and I'm like, what are you doing right now? Because we had a contract, and the contract said we weren't going to talk about the molestation.
See, and this is what they do in Hollywood. And they get NDAs, which is a non-disclosure agreement, and they have these people sign it, so they're not allowed to talk about anything. And which I was like wondering, what if somebody gets, like here, it was a crime being covered up. Haim got raped, right? And now he's not allowed to talk about that. Also makes the angel sign these when they go to tour with him on his bus or wherever, say there's drug use or crimes or whatever being committed, they can't say or do anything. I mean, as far as I know, which I don't get how that's legal. Just to me, that seems shady when someone makes you sign, like you can't say nothing about what happens. Feldman is very much a creep, as you'll see.
That was a taboo. That was a no boundary, don't do it thing.
Your
Wonder why.
His, both.
His.
So, nothing
both.
to do with sex, and he was like, me too, nothing to do with sex. So that means no molestations, no anything. We agreed on that. So that was the look of shock on my face when he goes,
or
what
resentment.
about the time when you let me get
raped by the guy you used to hang out with?
Got
and
it.
I'm like,
because it was. So that's real, because that was in the Tale of Two Corys. They were talking about that, and you're like, and he brought that up.
Right.
He's like, you let it happen.
Right.
And you're like, I was being molested too. And he's
Right.
like, yeah.
Exactly. But here's the truth of the matter. Even though we had this riff, and even though, you know, and that all went to what his mindset really was about all of this, which he finally revealed to me in our, you know, last conversation before we took the year break, which was when he came over to my house with his mom and my ex-wife, and we all had kind of this peaceful dinner, and it was at that point.
Take responsibility.
And you know what? He asked me to take responsibility for that on the show, and I did. I didn't do it then. I wasn't ready to. I did somewhat, but not really. But I can now. I wasn't ready to, but I can now. And the only way I can now is by, it's like, look, scars out.
Now, you think that freaking was a stab at Haim? You think that was? Scars out? What a jerk.
You know what I mean? Corey, you open it up to the world while me have a knife in my pocket. And the reason I wear this, man, is like to cover up the scars I have.
See, here's the wolf for the wolf pack, and here's the two Corys, what this is from, 2008, see? This is, please go watch that video. Check out Bobby Wolf also. He interviews all, I don't really know much more about Bobby Wolf Jr. or Bobby Wolf, whatever. All I know is that he made himself an enemy of Corey Feldman because he's supposedly the hacker that hacked everything as he swindled all your money, right? Whatever, he's such a liar.
Because, like, I used to cut into myself.
Corey Feldman sent me an email this year saying like this. And we did go to his house after the show was done because my son wanted to go and buy his son Zen a toy. So we went over there. And he said like this, and this was right after the second season.
Do you still care about Corey Feldman? It says, you know, when you know somebody that long, you're always going to have a special little something in your brain for that person. So I will always love Corey Feldman, but I've lost 105% respect for him and his wife. His beautiful son Zen has nothing to do with it. I agree. Goes on down here. Why blame him for your childhood abuse? He said he will always have, I'll always have your back, but when he knew there was a rape issue going on for me for about 2 years, what do you do about it? Nothing. Feldman might have possibly facilitated it, like hooked him up with his abuser.
And he said, Corey asked me to tell his story. The night you guys came over to the house, and Susie made you dinner, and after the show, we all made up. He asked me to do it because he lived his life in fear. And he said, tell my whole story and why I am the way I am. And I just kept reading it, and I'm going to his house. I was there. His assistant, Dre, happened to be there.
Dre, my head of security.
Yo, Dre! What's up? I was there tonight when he went over there. Corey had never mentioned, I know my recollection, that he wanted Corey to do a life story. Why would a man tell another man, you know, like, if I die?
I mean,
yeah, it's kind of true.
I believe he said that he took him alone, and that's when all this happened. You never witnessed that.
He took him along my ass. He never took Corey to a room and it was Corey say, oh man, if I die, man, just execute my story. Why? So you could destroy men's legacy?
My son was not stupid. After all of this chaos and hating Feldman and his wife at that point and everything else, yeah. He's going to go to his house and say, by the way, if I die, Corey, if I die before you, you know you got to tell my story, right?
You know, I just have to go my own way. So to get back to the negative people in my life that I'm dismissing out of my life, you know, Corey had to be the first to go.
Actor Scotty Schwartz in the house. You got super candid about your relationship and your opinions about Corey Feldman. So we definitely have got to dive into this conversation for real, because
I mean, it's my relationship with Corey Haim. You know, I mean, this goes back all the way to 1985 when I worked with Haim, and he was like my little brother. And you know, we all know what happened, you know, years later, and he's gone. And Corey Feldman has been profiteering from Corey Haim's death for a decade, you know.
So when you say, I don't mean to interrupt you, but when you say profiteering, do you mind diving into that and elaborating a little bit more on that?
Not at all. It's all out there. The book, Corey Feldman wrote a book, Coreyography, and a lot of it had, you know, I think the second paragraph in the book is about Corey Haim.
Wow.
And of course, Corey Haim was gone already. You know, can't speak for himself.
Right.
And then a couple of years later, it was a TV movie, and it's The Rape of Two Coreys, and it's using Corey Haim's name. And then recently, it's the new documentary, My Truth, and you know, I had to watch it because it is what it is, and I'm not directly involved, but I am. I was there. Okay, fine.
Right.
And the first 45 minutes, you know, he's bad-mouthing Corey Haim and bad-mouthing his mother, you know, Corey Haim's mom. And I'm like, it's enough. I had enough at this point.
Yeah.
You know, there's a gentleman named Alfie Hoffman from the Alfie Soda Pop Club. This goes all the way back to the 80s.
Yeah.
And Feldman claims this and that, he did this and that. And it's not true. You know, this is the pedophilia ring with the kids in Hollywood. And there were the men in the black suits at these Hollywood parties with these kids. Well, he's such a schmuck. Never asked anybody. I knew. That's what the job is. Their job is to stand there, don't bother nobody, and just watch what's going on. Make sure nothing bad happens to anybody.
Right.
But he said that this is a pedophilia ring. No, it's the security.
Interesting.
So he turns around and includes Alfie in this and said that, you know, things had happened between Alfie and Haim, which was false. But what happens is the fact that I've not seen Alfie Hoffman in over 30 years. I have talked to him a couple times. His daughter is being bullied and harassed in college over this stuff. Oh, your dad did this and da-da-da. Are you kidding?
So you're telling me that the accusations that Feldman has made about Alfie are false. Can you please give us a tiny bit of a backstory of who is this quote-unquote Alfie? Who is Alfie?
Alfie was a club and party promoter back in the 80s. And his father was a casting agent. So his father knew all of the people in Hollywood, whether it was adults or kids or whatever. And a guy named Randy Miller, who owned New York Seltzer Soda at the time, was looking to push his brand. They ended up running into each other through friends or whatever it was. And he hired Alfie to run these parties to give New York Seltzer, you know, a pop as far as publicity-wise. You get the kids there. We all stand there with New York Seltzer. Okay, fine. Nobody's getting paid. Nobody was there for, you know, endorsements. But they were supplying the place and the party, and we had the New York Seltzer, and everyone was happy. So he had nothing to do with that. At the time, he had a girlfriend. And then after that, he dated another woman. And then he had a child, you know, Alfie. He's had girlfriends and women in his life the whole way. There's been not one other person from that time frame who has stepped forward and said, he did this to me. This is what happened. Nobody. Because it didn't happen to begin with. It's BS, as they say.
Right.
So there's the backstory on Alfie. You go to Charlie Sheen, has been accused of doing something with him. I know for as close of a fact as humanly possible. I mean, I knew Corey Haim since 85. There was a time, early 90s, 93, 94, and he was one of those, I just knew something was wrong. We lived in the same apartment building together for a year. You know, we hung out, lunches, dinners, what friends do. Okay.
Right.
And I was at his place one day, and I said, dude, something's just not right. I know you better than this. You're not your normal, cheery, laughing, joking. No, I'm okay. I said, dude, come on. You know, it took me about 10 minutes, and then finally he said, okay, this is what happened. And he told me what happened with him and a man named Dominic Brascia, who was a radio guy and a small-time actor, whatever, who's deceased now, but back then he was still alive.
Right.
And I said, how many times did this happen? He said, once. I said, did anything else happen? No. Are you sure? No, nothing else happened. It's the only thing. Okay. Now I have to take him at his word. Why would he lie to me? Other people are saying other things. Well, you don't know what was the pre-story or the backstory to that. Were they doing drugs? Was it not a good day? Was he just trying to impress somebody? I don't know.
Right.
But I can tell you this is what the man told me.
Now,
and he wasn't a kid. He wasn't 15. He was in his 20s, you know.
Right, when he finally told you about this story about Dominic Brascia. If I'm correct, there was movies that Dominic was still in, right? Like he was still doing bit parts in certain movies and so on and so forth. So it's like, if this person had physically assaulted you, I mean, the question I would have is, if this person physically assaulted you, why would he still get bit parts in certain things later on in life?
After whatever happened between Dominic and Corey Haim went down, that was the last that they hung out. Okay. So there was no more hanging out. Now you go several years later, and Corey Feldman is putting together a movie called Busted. And it's a cop movie. It's a comedy, whatever.
Right.
And Feldman's going to be in it because, you know, when they do things together, they make more money that way. That's just how that goes. Abbott and Costello made money as a team, but Abbott single and Lou Costello singly didn't make it. This is how this was. So it's the team of Corey and Corey. And Feldman is a producer. He's directing, and he knows what happened with Dominic and Haim. And he hires Dominic Brascia to do a character role in the movie. And he has to be in one scene, two scenes. I don't know. I've never seen the film, but I know they were on the set at the same time together.
Right.
Feldman did that to Haim. Why would he do that? Why would he ever hire Dominic ever again, other for the fact that Feldman is the one who introduced Dominic to Haim, and they were friends previous to and after. He was friends with him all the way through until Dominic's passing, from what I understand.
So you're trying to say maybe that, are you saying either Feldman already knew but yet still casted Dominic Brascia in the movie, or did he not exactly know and he's...
No, he knew.
Okay.
No, he knew.
That's some messed up stuff.
Feldman was jealous of Haim almost from the beginning because Haim had a really good relationship with his parents. His father and mother had a good relationship, but Feldman did not. From the ages of 10 to 15, he lived with his mother. Then he lived with his father. He didn't have those loving, bonding relationships with them. His mother had plenty of issues. The father, a businessman. So there was always jealousy there. Haim is blonde. Haim is more handsome, attractive, whatever you want to say, kid than Feldman.
Had more of the leading man qualities, I guess, features.
Yeah. Needless to say, you know, Charlie Sheen was mentioned, and that's false.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense. It's not logical.
Right.
That he goes on to the set of Lucas. He's 19. Corey Haim is 13. He's got a girlfriend at home. He's hooking up with extras and people and, you know, women on the set.
He's
got
Charlie
a
Sheen.
monster crush on Carrie Green.
Right.
Who's the other star of the film. Didn't do anything with her, but he's got a monster crush on her. So with all of that, so he's, you know, he's going to fiddle with a 13-year-old boy. His father's in show business, uncle's in show business, brother's in show business. He's one of the top 20 stars in Hollywood at this point, you know, or 25, whatever it is. Why would he jeopardize all of that to do it in between two trailers outside where one of the 80 people who work on the set could walk by?
Yeah.
This is the story that was told. None of it makes any sense. None of it's logical.
Right.
You know, since then, I mean, we understand the last 10, 12 years, Charlie, you know, this and that, up, down, the tiger blood and whatever.
Right.
But this, when he was 19, this is before all of that.
Yeah, before all that stuff. Before cocaine. but for copious amounts of cocaine.
I understand your critics, though, because so many women have come forward and told their stories without any security team.
Yeah, so he said the first person he had to eliminate of negative stuff were people in his life, and that was Corey Feldman was the first person that had to go. Because Corey Feldman was not his friend. Corey Feldman, he even admits in his book, he calls Tony Burnham. You know who Tony Burnham was? Dominic Brascia, who's now deceased. So no justice, nothing. And even when the dude's deceased is when Feldman finally come out and said it, but he said it was consensual. When it was obviously not. It's not consensual when you're under 18. Haim had no way he could have said yes. Let's continue.
Without any legal
but those women,
defense in
half
place.
of them got paid off. I didn't get paid off. A lot of them.
See, so that's what Feldman wants. He feels like he got abused in Hollywood, and then when he saw in 2016 that Me Too movement, because he tried to hijack it and call it Kids Too. That's what he's trying to say. Because he wants compensation for being molested in Hollywood. He wants compensation as an adult.
Took a deal to keep their mouths shut. They took a deal to go along with these forward advances so that they could help their careers. We never had that.
I don't think you're characterizing what they did.
I don't know about that. He's like, you want to be in a movie, and then he slept with them, and whether they said no or yes, obviously you weren't going to get work if you didn't. So there's that power play. So like, you know, that's when it's really like, there's that power. You can't never get a job if you said something about it. And maybe Feldman does a lot of projecting.
Correctly at all, with respect. I think they took a deal because they felt helpless. They didn't know what to do. And this is the only measure of justice they felt they could get.
I understand, but I wasn't awarded that opportunity. Neither was my partner. We never were given an opportunity to possibly get an upside for our victimization. We were
right now,
abused.
the upside is protecting other little boys
We were
right
abused.
now.
I want to say something.
Jump in, Judy.
I want everybody to remember that my son.
And it brings up another good point. Feldman, everyone he kept leading up, and he would never say none. He says, biggest problem in Hollywood is and always will be pedophilia, right? From that time, what was that, 2011 he said that? I believe it was 2011. From that time, he has not given any names all the way until almost 10 freaking years later in 2020. Even then, it was Marty Weiss, who was already convicted. It was John Grissom, who was his dad's assistant. And then he also never working or not working in Hollywood, and might even be a convicted pedophile. And also he mentioned Dominic Brascia, who's dead. Then he also mentioned Alfie. None of them worked in Hollywood. So he made it like, oh, big Hollywood mogul. Who, Charlie Sheen? Who? No, he was not. And what's this thing about Charlie Sheen? I feel like there was something like he wanted to be like Charlie Sheen's friend, and he said no. I don't know what that thing is. And then Manson, he got in on Manson thing. He was like, yeah, he's a piece of crap. He sabotaged my angelic to the core tour.
Somebody asked me, am I going to fight Marilyn Manson? You think that would be a fight? He's too much of a pussy to stand in my face.
You have to get in shape first.
Yeah, he's a big fat belly drinking bald and ugly man. I don't think he's gonna go very far in a fight with me. I'd run circles around him. He would be like, oh, I can't see through my contacts. Yeah, no. That wouldn't work very well. He's a pussy. But anyway, I actually almost did kick his ass once in a bathroom at a Roger Waters concert, but I felt bad for him because he was pathetic, and I don't like beating up weak-minded individuals. You know, it's not my thing. But if he would have thrown a punch like he said he was going to, I definitely would have knocked him out, even with his stilts on. Anyway, that's all I have to say about that.
He was one of those people that if you look back at every single interview he's ever had since he started this business at 13 and a half, he told the whole world everything. He never hid anything. So he went on national TV on the reality show, and he actually exposed his own abuser, which was Corey Feldman's friend, Dominic Brascia. He exposed his own abuser without asking
for a penny.
He didn't say, I want $10 million to make a movie to expose my abuser. So even after he did that, even I went on Dr. Oz and exposed the same guy. Dominic Brascia is one person that I know
and
that my
bleeped
son
it out.
talked about.
And if you watch this, I have watched it, he bleeps out the name. Dr. Oz bleeps out the actual person's name.
So what do you think about these allegations that he was raped when he was age 13?
I know what's going on out there with what everybody is saying, and I know I can tell you as a mother that I haven't seen one change in character. I would have known if anything was wrong. My kid had nothing. He was like transparent. He never hid anything. He was Corey. It's out of character. That's number one. When my son was 13, he's not going to go and ask Charlie Sheen to go and sleep with him. I have to tell you that this guy is the guy that abused my son.
2017. Maybe it was before Dominic Brascia died. I don't know why. Why didn't they block out Charlie Sheen? Why didn't they block out John Grisham? Why? And also, John Grisham is not the author of books. Not that guy. Some just dude with the same damn name.
There are no more abusers out there. I want people to understand that. There was one guy, my son really surprised him and shocked him on the reality show, saying, you introduced me to your friend, used me, and you were friends with him before, and you continued being his friend afterwards, knowing what he did to me. Well, when my son passed away and Corey Feldman was ready to write his book, he told me on the phone that it's payback time.
I'm on board. Presents Coreyography. Written and read by Corey Feldman.
You think you got the feeling and your soul is not believing it's ascension, millennium. You got the feeling in your soul, you just gotta let it go, ascension, millennium. You're trying to hold on to this, but God is trying to give up ascension, millennium. Ascension, millennium. That's that you can be with all you do and who you see. What is real for you and me? Times are hard and this is true, but you can't let it get to you, cause this reality is only temporarily. What you want, first you vanish, and that's staring in my mind. Trying to hold on to this, but God is trying to give some ascension.
So you walk in there.
Oh, hey. What's up? Just holding this giant eagle.
He was supposed to be at the dentist. Hey, dog, I got a problem with this tooth, man, he said when we spoke on the phone that Monday afternoon. It fell out again. Man, the soonest I can get an appointment is a week and a half away. He was plagued by problems with his teeth. Decades of drug abuse had rendered some of them loose, or rotten and decayed. But he didn't have health insurance, which is why I had started sending him to my personal dentist.
Oh God, dude, is he immediately opening shitting on him?
Bagging on Haim. Bagging on Haim out of the gates, dude.
Immediately talks crap on Haim. Didn't even know him, and he already didn't like him before he ever met him because he was losing roles to him. See right here it says with Larry King, it says, question from someone in Virginia, any roles you turned down you wish you accepted, and any roles you really, really wanted that went to somebody else. Feldman, and it says, I think we both have those. And then it says, Haim says, I stole some by accident. I'm sorry. I didn't want to come up. And the King says, so it was personal. Feldman said, yes, very personal. And Haim says, it still is, Larry. Feldman is someone who likes to hold a grudge. So the only thing I can think of, he keeps saying that Haim was coming up for his roles. I think so. I don't know. Haim says that they were eating lunch and he was trying out for River Phoenix's role in Stand By Me. And Rob Reiner said, no, I think you would be better Lucas in this movie, Lucas. So that's what happened. He got that role. And I guess Feldman says he was trying out for Lucas and was hoping it'd be his breakout role, and he didn't get it. And then, so again, they both tried out for the part of Les in License to Drive, and again, Haim got it. So that's why they didn't pick him, or that's why Feldman didn't get it. So it was 2 roles, you know what I mean? Right there. So here starts their relationship already. Didn't even meet him, and he didn't like him because he was the other Corey.
We were both up for Les, and they came to me at a certain point and said, you know what? We're not going to give you the part of Les. We're thinking about giving it to Corey Haim. And I was like, that, you know?
Haim had snatched the lead.
I mean, I'm tired of this little bitch coming in and taking all my roles. It was not like, hey, here we go again, the Duke Corey, let's go make a movie. It wasn't like...
He's hanging out with Charlie Sheen here for, you know, Dominic was your friend for a long time, right? I wish I knew Kennison like you did. He was one of the greats, so I wish he was still here with us. Did you have any run-in with Sheen hanging out with Sam? They're friends too, weren't they? He said they were friends, but no, we never ran into each other. Wow, what a liar. And look at the Sam Kinison sticker right there in his pocket. Again, just proving more of how Feldman's a liar. That's more what this... He's a complete... You can't take nothing he says. He's a complete liar. Okay, here he is. And this is a weird interview. I watched this interview and I didn't watch the whole thing to get to this because Feldman is just such a freaking... He's such an unlikable person when you really understand what's under a facade. He is pretending to talk like Michael. So anyway, let me tell you guys. Like, he's all like weird. I know I didn't sound like Michael Jackson. I'm not trying to sound like Michael. I'm trying to sound like Corey Feldman. Trying to sound like Michael Jackson. I'm a dude playing a dude who's pretending to be another dude.
Do you? Woo! Promoting my new album. And it's been very emotional. It's been a roller coaster because there's a lot of adversity. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of people trying to silence me right now because they don't want me to speak the truth. Mm-hmm. But it's out there. So I called them up and I said, B, I'm coming to town. They took my girlfriend at immigration. They separated us. I'm here alone without my angels. Yeah. I got nobody. And
okay, now this is Dominic Brascia. And Dominic Brascia, here we go. I'm just trying to vindicate him. Here we go. Your dude, your best friend, who is...
Finished telling my story, revealed that Dominic was in fact my best friend. My best friend.
Dominic Brascia.
You raped me. What'd you do? You knew about it. Besides being his
best friend.
Best friend. What'd you do? What'd you do? All is what you did, man.
No, he shouldn't have been in that situation in the first place. All I'm trying to do is vindicate him. Every time I had seen Tony Burnham at one of Ralphie's
Dominic Brascia.
At one of Ralphie's parties, he would be on and on about Corey Haim, about how good-looking he was, and how much he wanted to meet him. At that moment, I wasn't thinking about the fact that Tony was an adult and Haim was a minor. I was thinking that I would do just about anything to get Haim to shut up and to stop him from hitting on me.
No, but hold on. Okay, so it's a molester, but we're not... Haim was, more than likely, this is a consensual thing with Dominic.
It was consensual, but he was still a child.
Right, and Dominic is like 35.
Right.
Dominic is like 35.
Right.
Well, it comes up and pops up here, and it says apparently Dominic was not 35, but who really gives a crap? He's 29. I mean, he's still well over almost half Haim's age, so it really doesn't matter how many years are off. I don't care. It doesn't make it any less, a crime.
You were one of the first people that I had ever emancipated at 15.
Yeah. I'll have to continue staying at
Dominic Brascia,
since he seemed like a responsible guardian, at least in the eyes of the court. And by the time I arrived at the courthouse on the day of the hearing, I had my regular cast of crazies in tow.
John Grissom and Dominic
were there.
And I heard you name names.
Originally, I did,
And
yeah.
then your book publisher took the names out. It's because of the statute of limitations or something.
Well, it's legality. See, everybody wants to put the blame on me. Why aren't you putting the names out there? Why are you protecting them? I'm not protecting nobody. You guys need to know what's up.
How
like,
old,
that's
how
not
old
the
were
case.
you? They dope you up, get you high or drunk, and then have their way with you?
That's the name of the game. That's the name of the game. Hey.
Basically, it goes into saying, like I said, please go watch that Liar Liar video. It's in the description if you have not. Then come back. Basically, Feldman drugged Haim so that Dominic could have his way with him. Disgusting. He pimped out his own friend. This guy says that. I don't know who he is, and you look him up. So anyway, in here, you're going to see the rest of this. I think it's just the type of people that Feldman surrounds himself with. Like Hugh Hefner showed up on A Surreal Life when he got married to Susie on there. And he also hung out, like, he just idolizes, like, Charlie Sheen with his goddesses and Feldman with his angels. And then there's, you know, Michael Jackson, how he dresses and acts like him. And then he hangs out with Ron Jeremy all the time. And also he was friends with... John Grisham was one of his friends. He's in one of his music videos. So was Alfie. And then, you know, what's his name? Dominic Brascia was his friend. He just surrounds himself with some of the creepiest and grossest people.
Back in that time, that was the thing to do, was go out and rape people, right?
That's the name of the game.
Hey. Go out and rape people, right?
That's Dominic Brascia, and he's in the movie. A lot of horror fans know him because he's in Friday the 13th movie. Which case, so is Feldman. Feldman's in it when he's like, dang, how old was he? Was he like 12 or 13? He was around that age. And Dominic Brascia is in one of those movies where he's a kid. So you think something with Feldman? See, I think when Feldman act like Haim was always hitting on him, I think he really meant Dominic Brascia, and really he wanted to get Dominic Brascia off of hitting on him for whatever reason. He was still friends with him. I don't understand. He was trying to get him, oh, like, here's Haim for you, buddy. So here you go.
But the problem with these guys is that they like to drug people and do these crimes.
He would say, listen, the stuff in the glasses with the little print on, yeah, that's what, those are water. And I'm like, well, why are you giving us water? He goes, no, this is, you know, we're most of it, we're going to drink water. Everybody else is going to drink Everclear. And I said, but that's manipulative. And he's like, well, you know.
Dan, I'm not a huge ICP fan, although I know plenty of people or my friends are, so I know their music. I don't like hate them. I'm just like not a huge fan or nothing. I mean, their gatherings look like a mixture of all kinds of weird people from Walmart or something. But I mean, I wouldn't say I wouldn't go, but I'm an Eminem fan too, and I feel like if I wore a shirt, I just said I would wear an Eminem shirt there, which would probably get beat up. How freaking tiny Feldman looks compared to them. Like, and he thought he was going to beat up Haim. Like, seriously, bro?
Like Ron Jeremy. You don't let Ron Jeremy come to your parties, do you? Yes, Ron Jeremy does come to my party. Oh, damn. It's a Ron Jeremy party. How man to take a
No. He's banned. He's banned.
Straight lie.
He's banned.
The 25th Annual Youth Artist Awards. And he comes out and he thanks Marty Weiss. Like, the guy that molested him, supposedly, or Haim, or whoever. I don't know if he did or not. I mean, and this is the thing that gets me about it, is Feldman acts like he just put that out there, that Marty Weiss, like nobody knew. If you had never seen the documentary In Open Secret, which is a true documentary about sexual abuse in Hollywood, they put him out. There was a kid who was actually a client of Marty Weiss that recorded him. Like, brave kid, dude. Awesome kid. Not Feldman. Feldman's not this type of person. This kid gets the props, not Feldman. This kid ruined his whole future. I mean, not ruined. I don't want to say it like that. He did what was right instead of worrying about his future and being famous and rich. He, you know, basically caught a pedophile and he turned him in. He recorded, you know, and had him talk, and then got charges on him so no kid would be molested again. The kid did what was right. He deserves he deserves the recognition. Not Feldman. Feldman do nothing. He's protecting these people. He's disgusting leech. He's a leech on the people that he surrounds himself. Just shows what a blood-sucking leech he is. And predator. Can't stand this dude. I really can't.
Hi. How y'all doing?
Yeah.
Good. Well, I would like to say thank you for having me here, first of all. I want to say thanks to Maureen Dragoni, who started this organization many, many years ago. I think I was there when she was actually writing the idea for the Youth and Film Award. No, I'm joking. I wasn't really there. And it's nice to know that after all these years, 25 years, that this still exists. And there's still a home for all the children actors. So thank you, and congratulations to Jenna and to Scott and to everybody up here. Some great performers, great talent up here. And thanks to Marty Weiss for helping organize it. And, thanks.
What a pig. Now, here is a special treat because I had to buy this episode. So special, I had to buy it. Okay, and I cut out all of Tommy Davison. I feel like I'm saying it wrong.
Hi, I'm Pee Wee Herman, and this is my friend Godzilla, and oh look, Gumby. Hello, Gumby. Hello. Well, they died. Anyway, we're all here watching Nickelodeon with true stories from famous people.